What's up, YouTube? CHF here. We are not doing any coaching today because we have a special video, guys. And I just have to tell you what it is. It is going to be a long one because we are interviewing a former admin of a perennial top league who has accused his league of cheating. So he sent me over some evidence. We are going to break it down for you guys, and you guys can decide, is it cheating? Is it a disgruntled admin? Is it exposed? Let me know. So there are going to be a couple of things we talk about, and a couple of them are gray, but by the time we get to the third accusation and evidence of it, I think you guys are going to be pretty shocked at what was being done, as it's definitely shady. And I will tell you, it is one of the leagues that you see behind me here. But without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and hop into the interview with Cameron. All right, guys, so first off, I just want to give a huge thank you to Cameron. You can see him right here opposite me on the other side of the screen here. And Cameron is the one who reached out to me and told me that there was some shady stuff going on. So Cameron, let me throw it over to you real quick, man. Let me give you a minute to just kind of introduce yourself, and then we'll get into some juicy questions that everybody's probably wondering about.
All right. Thank you very much. What's going on, everybody? I'm Cameron. I've been an admin of Bush League for about 3 years now. We started in season 2, and I was there, from the beginning up until Monday of this week, when I separated from the league, unfortunately. And now I'm just here to talk about kind of some of the shadier things going on behind the scenes with Bush League. Some of the things that I feel like need to be brought attention to, and kind of a given apology to the community for how we've been over the past couple of years.
And Cameron, I noticed you said we, which I think is a big step too, because a lot of people could take this as, oh, it's an angry, disgruntled former player coming out to point fingers. And when you say we, I think you're acknowledging that you were very much a part of this, and I want to kind of commend you on that, because I think it takes some guts to come out and say, look, it's not just others that were wrong, that I was participating in that as well. So thanks, man. So I know that kind of you've sent me over a couple of screenshots, which we're going to throw up on the screen as we're talking about them here. But why don't you just kind of give me high level? We're going to get into details and talk and ask questions about the screenshots that we're going to be showing on the screen. But kind of high level, if you had to just give us a quick 1 minute TLDR on what was going on, what would you say is kind of your thoughts? Because I know some people are going to question, is this cheating? Is it just unfair? How does it give a competitive advantage? So just kind of give me the really quick one, and then we'll dive deeper into the screenshots.
Of course. So obviously when people talk about cheating or hear cheating, the first thing that'll come to mind is, like creating their own scores or mimicking scores and things of that nature. But this is kind of, we were able to read the script of the game itself and draw very beneficial information out of it that would give us a pretty massive advantage in every single game we played, even down to the matchup itself, and kind of really benefit us a lot more than anybody else in order to put up our high scores and maintain a high average and win a lot of games.
Okay. Wow. All right. So I know we got a couple of screenshots here, and the first one that I want to talk about, which you've told me a little bit about this, but we didn't get to dive super deep into it, is this screenshot here where it shows within Slack, which I love Slack. I run my league on Slack as well. But you've got this thing that's showing here where it says live counter alert, and it's showing things here on the screen where it says new tournament detected, and then waiting for tops leagues to spin, who you're waiting for. Why don't you tell me kind of about what that is, how it works, what it did, and how that helps you guys?
So we had access to the spin times of pretty much all of the top leagues, and we were able to run a program that would start our spin for us and stop at any time a top league was detected. You can probably see on the screen right now, it says waiting for 6 No Name Ballers.
Yeah.
It's because right around the same time, No Name Ballers was beginning their spin. So the bot was able to stop the spin for us and allow us to avoid matching with them and get a crappier matchup or a more favorable one to us.
Wow, so
And
it was like automated dodging then. Like you didn't have to
right,
worry about watching and having guys kind of crunch the numbers on that. It would start the spin. If it saw something that said you were going to have a tough match, it would stop it, wait for the next cycle and restart. Is that accurate?
right, yeah. We obviously enough we we had a lot of advantages, but if we're going up against a top league, it's still completely up in the air on how that game's going to go, how our defenses are going to perform. And it kind of just took the randomness out of our matchups.
Wow.
And it allowed us to avoid any top matchups or any, shootout matches.
Wow.
And,
okay. Wow.
Create
That's
a favorite matchup.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely something that some leagues I know were known for dodging in the top 100, but I kind of figured they had guys who were like watching over and planning for that. So the fact that you guys were able to automate that, not worry about it, and be able to dodge and get yourselves easier matchups, I mean that definitely seems like something that that is not how EA intended the game to work, especially not being automated.
Yeah, there are plenty of leagues out there, I'm sure, that they'll do some groundwork, do some research on trying to figure out some spin times, try and make sure they navigate that properly. But we didn't have to worry about that. We ran a program and It did all the work for us.
All right, so that's crazy, man. So, and I think it just gets juicier from here, guys watching. I mean, that was kind of the, and I think I look at that and I'm like, yeah, that definitely seems a little unfair, if nothing else. Just doing something that you normally would have to work for. But this next screenshot that I'm going to show up here is the one where it's popping out with a live counter alert, and it's prompting, and it's giving the tag, which would send you the alert in Slack, tagging the person that's being driven on. It's telling you who is driving against you, and then it looks like immediately thereafter it started giving suggested game plans to either maximize counter percentage or minimize yardage. Tell me about what this bot is, how it works, and just help us understand what we're looking at in this screenshot.
Yeah, of course. So I'll be able to get a little bit more into the live counter alert later on as well. But basically, Slack has a push notification feature where you can use the @ symbol to send a direct notification to any member in the chat. And all of our teams were hooked up to Slack. So anytime one of our opponents would initiate a drive against us, we would get a direct notification about it immediately that somebody is initiating a drive against us. So we'd be able to hop on, live counter, block any plays they're throwing at us, and optimize our odds of getting a stop on drives 2 and 3.
All right, so Cameron, that's crazy, and this whole thing about the scouting department, suggested game plan. Tell me a little bit about that.
So what you're seeing there is a chart that is essentially summing up for us the optimal game plan cards that we would be able to put into our game plan in order to block the plays that are being thrown at us and optimize our chance of getting a stop on drives 2 and 3.
Wow.
Obviously enough, there are a select amount of game plan cards available, and there are a select amount of ways to get the optimal game plan set up to get those stops. And basically the bot would eliminate the need for us to do the groundwork on trying to find those cards and trying to create a plan in our head, and it would just tell us exactly which cards we need to get in order to give us the best chance of getting a stop on drives 2 and 3.
So would this bot basically just be looking at their recent tendencies? Because I know tendencies can be faked, and you could just play some intra-league matches beforehand, and that would hide your tendencies. Or is this using kind of that whole tie-in to the game script kind of thing to actually look at what they actually call, or how does that exactly work, I guess, or a little more insight? So the only plays are in the pool of our league versus league plays used by opponents. So it's what they were using live on drive 1, not what was in their tendencies. Not exactly. If we had played a league before, we would know exactly what they used in the tournament previously. Okay. So
we would essentially have an outline of exactly what they did to score on us the first time around, and we'd be able to kind of create a better strategy to stop them that time. Or if we had never played them before, it would take the most commonly used plays by a generic top 100 opponent and use those numbers to create a game plan instead.
Okay. So I know that, scouting is a big part in top leagues, especially last year with live countering. So it sounds like it was basically taking, because I know how we would run it. We would basically keep a spreadsheet where we kept that, and we'd have to go in and look at all of this. So you would basically have your bot that would take that same data, but be able to sort through it and almost instantly give you that information, as opposed to you having to go through, find the league, find the person, and so on and so forth.
Exactly. The bot itself would take those numbers and regurgitate them for us. We didn't have to really do much of the groundwork on that at all, other than when the bot was initially set up in season 3. So it kind of just a lot of these systems were kind of either making our lives easier or eliminating the randomness within the game.
Okay. And I also pulled up kind of that next shot you gave me where it has that markdown bot. And that kind of makes sense with what you just said there, where you would put in that person's name and it would know based on prior ones all the way down, where it's showing much more than just 3 plays, right. Or it would give the generic. So that's pretty interesting. And now this is the one that I think really, really shocked me when you told it to me, Cameron. So I'm moving on to kind of this next screenshot you gave me here, where it talks about check counters, and it says scout and opposing teams counters. Tell me about that, because that's interesting.
So what you're seeing right there is the command list that is available within our Slack channels. Obviously, every Slack channel has the commands that come with the app,
right?
But our commissioner added some commands of his own. I highlighted them in the screenshots. And the one you're seeing right there is check counters, where we would put the / into the program, put in the name of the player whose counters we were checking, and it would tell us what plays he has countered, the percentage of each counter on the playbooks themselves. For example, a 20% chance of a long pass getting countered, a 100% chance of run plays getting countered, which soft counters are in play. And it would allow us to circumvent any hard counters on our drives, avoid playbooks that have a higher chance of being countered, and allow us to kind of just navigate down the field easier.
Wow. I mean, that definitely sounds like, to me, that's the biggest thing that comes out to me is, boy, that's cheating. But I gotta ask, because the way I look at things, I try to think through where, there's I guess a couple of ways that I envision this could work. Was it one where it was kind of like the last one where you compiled that data from what they had in a prior match, so they could have completely changed their game plan up and it wouldn't match? Or is this somehow going into the script of the game, where I know you said that it was linked into the game somehow, and checking what they actually had to the point where you knew, hey, I'm not going to hit a hard counter?
I knew where the hard counters were regardless. I never had to do anything where I had to play them before. I would know right away exactly what their counters were.
Wow. I mean, that to me, the other ones where I look at them like, the bot of spinning to the dodge bot, I guess you could call it. That's interesting. I'm like, all right, yeah. And that's kind of in that maybe gray area where maybe people won't come out and say, yeah, that's cheating. The whole thing where it impacts and searches through all of your prior scouting reports to tell you what to counter. Again, people could say, hey, yeah, that bot is definitely doing a lot of the heavy lifting for you, but you're still having to do that. But I mean, if it's somehow scouting their game plan, so you could go in there and know, I'm going to be able to call whatever I want, and avoid counters. To me, that's the biggest thing that jumps out to me is, boy, that's definitely cheating. Yeah. And I mean, was it a flawless system to the point where you'd run that and you would never hit a hard counter, or was it sometimes faulty, or?
The only times I wouldn't hit live counters, or not live counters, the only time I wouldn't hit hard counters is when I didn't use the bot.
Okay. And
if I used it, I wasn't hitting them.
Was it smart enough to check if they live countered you? So maybe it reads their initial game plan, but then they go in and make changes. So you're in drive 1. Is it one of those things where you could jump back, check it again before drive 2, and it would know what they changed to as well?
If I feel like they're going to be fast enough to live counter me, I can obviously just hop right back onto the app and put the command in again, see if there are any updates. But if there were any updates made, I would know about it.
Wow. I mean, to me, that's probably the most damning thing I've heard, and I don't like to use bad words here on the channel, but I mean that's pretty incredible. So I'm just kind of skimming through here, and I'm going to put up a couple of these other ones where it says /counter, and it says find the cards that counter a specific. That almost seems like maybe it's just like pulling the root tools like filtercreator.xyz and looking at counters. But that, I guess, is probably just more information than cheating.
Yeah, a lot of these commands that were created were ways of feeding us information and making our lives easier, eliminating the need, things of that nature. There were a lot of programs created that would, for example, tell us when a live event is going to start up in the future. We'd be able to figure out what players are about to drop, a couple of days in advance, or the exact moment the programs add the game or add the player to the code. We'd be able to know it before everybody else. We'd be able to prepare our resources so we can go get those players. We'd be able to plan our schedules ahead so we can be there for the big live events, those timed live events that you need to be ready for. And it kind of just simplified our lives in a way.
Okay, that makes sense, and that's kind of another one where it's like it's kind of in that gray area. I think that live counter one, or the live counter and the play calling specifically, I mean, that's just mind blowing to me. And I'm just going to kind of cycle through a couple of these other ones where it looks like there's one here where it has like, it was just automated to make it easier on you guys, where you could enroll in, whether to get live counter alerts or not. You could check on the spin times for other top 100 leagues. You could check a person's tendencies. And then I guess there's on here this one that I think maybe we should talk about where it's whitelist. Tell me about kind of whitelist. What does that do?
So the whitelist was our way of making a couple of the higher ranked teams available to us. Obviously, a lot of people might know what a blacklist is. It's the exact opposite of that, where it tells our bot that these are acceptable leagues to match up with. Before we know we can beat them, and there's obviously enough. We can't skate through a 350 game season, getting 200 plus matchups every single time.
Right.
We're not going to be able to skate through a 350 game season winning every single time. It has to be a little bit of controversy. There has to be a little bit of higher grade matchups, and this was basically the window for us to allow that to happen, I guess,
to have a little more control over it
without ending up in like a top 10 matchup, for example.
Wow. Okay. Well, I think those are kind of the screenshots that you went through there that I kind of had some questions about. So one big question, we know that this year's game is very, very different from last year's game. And, when I think through, the whole live counter thing, to me, being able to tell what their game plan is, the live counter alert, those are definitely like huge competitive advantages. But with everything that changed in Overdrive, is there anything that you guys were doing that was kind of still relevant today? I mean, I guess the whole dodge bot probably would still work, the whole whitelist thing. But, to me, I guess the biggest smoking gun there was being able to know what your opponent's game plan was and completely avoid hard counters, and even know, hey, this is the soft counter percentage, so go with the lowest one and just only use short pass plays or only use play action pass plays. What if anything, is going on that's kind of shady in Madden Overdrive?
So, obviously the elimination of counters within the game kind of nerfed the bot in a real major way.
Right.
The biggest advantages that the bot still gives us now are our ability to circumvent top matches and make sure we have favorable matchups every time, and our access to information that some people might not have until it's time to actually play those events and get those players. It's more so an advantage for us rather than a disadvantage for everyone else now.
Right.
But it's still not a level playing field, and it won't be.
Okay.
pretty much all of Overdrive.
Wow. Okay. So, I mean, that covers kind of all of the big things that were there. You know, and I just want to make clear, you know, it doesn't sound like there's, you know, I think we've all seen, you know, in the top chats that we're in, where the guy from like the commissioner of She Loves the D, where he put up like 1 million points in Overdrive, and that's going around, and EA still hasn't banned him. And I mean, you know, it's a little mind blowing to me there. Was most of kind of the shady stuff more along the lines of this bot? And I mean, there's definitely, you know, last year for sure, competitive advantage that comes from that. Is there anything kind of else shady going on that you either suspect or had kind of proof of, or is there anybody who kind of does the same things as those other cheat leagues, or is this kind of just a different way of cheating from the obvious hacker type of leagues?
With this season and last season, the only real shady things that kind of still go on behind the scenes are like the coin buying.
Okay.
That's kind of taken less. Obviously, Madden dropped a season with all the people, everybody that was buying them, you know, still playing now.
Right.
Nobody really caught that permanent ban. We all, everybody got got their accounts back, got access to it, and it's really like there's really no, I guess, ways to fabricate wins right now.
Right.
There's no, Madden kind of eliminated a lot of the pathways to that
strategy, the
Yeah.
fun. Yeah, I mean, I've been dealing with it. You know, being that my channel was an LVL channel, they've really gutted LVL. Well, you know, Cameron, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I really appreciate you coming on the show, and kind of going through this, owning up to it, saying that you used it. Are there any kind of closing thoughts or anything else that you want to tell the audience and the community before we wrap this thing up?
I mean, off the bat, I definitely want to apologize for pretty much everything over the past 2 seasons. Obviously, like, I don't want this to come off as me trying to claim innocence or me trying to circumvent responsibility for anything. I've obviously been involved as well. I'm fully culpable as well, along with everybody else. Because, you know, there's definitely been a lot of benefits from being affiliated with Bush League, and all the wins and things of that nature definitely opened some doors. And I just wanted to give an apology to everybody for my actions. Kind of, I used to really pride myself on being a straight shooter, and I definitely can't make that claim anymore. And this is basically just my way of apologizing to everybody in the community.
Well, thank you, and you know, I'm a big fan, even though I've got my kind of gripes with EA. I'm still a big fan of fair play, and I appreciate you kind of having the courage and the integrity. You know, I know you said, you know, that you were guilty of it, but to come on here, I think that's a big big step. And I just want to say thanks so much on behalf of all of my viewers, the community. Thanks so much for being brave, coming out here and having this interview with me. So thank you so much, man.
Thank you for having me.
Alrighty. So guys, there it is. I think there was a lot that was unpacked there, and there was definitely some stuff that was in the gray area, but that is one thing that definitely last year to me seemed like pretty blatant cheating. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. Let me know what you think EA, if anything, will do about this, what they should do about this. I personally think that they need to just shut down the rooted devices and the things that are able to run these scripts, to just take that out of the game altogether. There's got to be a way, for them to figure that out. But guys, wanted to do something different. I like to keep you guys up to date on what's going on in the community, and obviously this is a pretty big allegation that comes out. So, what do you guys think? Is it proof? Is it not clear? Is it something that the commissioner of Bush League wants to come on the show and correct that Cameron got wrong? I don't know, but it looks pretty bad. So guys, I'm going to stop it right there since it is such a long video. But if you like this video or what I'm trying to do here on the channel, go ahead and hit that like button. Oh yeah, tomorrow night, my Saturday night stream, C-Note, since he wasn't able to make it last week, He thinks he's going to make it this week. We are supposed to be getting the rest of our games filmed to do that so we can bring a Smash Mouth player on. But guys, if you are new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. It is normally strategy content, but again, if I get an opportunity to interview somebody that I think has information that you guys would want to hear, I will do that as well using the platform. And if you want to see what I drop, when I drop it, go ahead and hit that bell icon to join the notification squad. I love you guys. You are the best ever. I will see you tomorrow. CHF out.